Have you ever had that moment where you knew exactly what you needed to do, but you just stood there, waiting for the perfect timing that never came? While you were waiting, that opportunity slipped away, that relationship deteriorated, that project died on the shelf. Yes, I've heard several stories like this. Someone who supposedly had the opportunity of a lifetime, but fear paralyzed them, or insecurity, the thought that they weren't ready for it, or that desire to calculate every detail and every variable before making a decision. Because of this, the opportunity is lost, and then the person regrets not having taken advantage of the chance, or says that famous phrase, "If it didn't work out, it's because it wasn't meant to be. The universe wanted it this way. God wanted it this way." This phrase is like a medicine for your own conscience. It may even free you from the pain for a while, but it will never free you from the consequences that your lack of attitude will bring you throughout your life. But calm down, not all is lost. If you feel that you have been postponing important decisions, or that your lack of action has prevented you from becoming the best version of yourself, has prevented you from getting where you dream of getting to, has prevented you from becoming a real beast, this video can help you. There is a 400-year-old Japanese book that says, "If you do not master the fire within you, the world will extinguish your flame." What if I told you that the difference between those who succeed and those who fall behind isn't talent, isn't luck, isn't connection? It's just one thing: knowing when to attack. Stay until the end, because I'll show you how to turn hesitation into action, chaos into strategy, and fear into movement. And in the end, you'll discover why the right intensity at the right time is the most neglected skill of the 21st century. But before we get to the content, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment on which teaching resonates most with you. Back to the video. In the 17th century, a samurai named Miyamoto Musashi found himself in an impossible situation. At age 13, he killed his first opponent. By age 30, he had won more than 60 duels. But it wasn't his sword that made him invincible, it was his mind. Musashi wrote a manual that became legendary, the Book of Five Rings. And there's one chapter that has captured the attention of readers around the world. The Book of Fire, Hi-no-Maki. Today's video is based on this chapter. But here's the plot twist. This book isn't about fighting with swords. It's about fighting with life. Every strategy he describes can be applied to your daily battles. That difficult conversation you've been putting off for months. The project that sticks in your mind. The decision you know you need to make, but keep making excuses for. The toxic pattern you allow, because maybe it will get better. Mind-blowing facts about the Book of Fire. First, fire is not about violence. It's about perfectly timed decision-making. Second, Musashi proved that constant pressure is more ethical than delayed confrontation, because it avoids the long war that destroys everything. Third, he discovered that 80% of battles are won before they begin, in the preparation of the ground. In this video, I'll translate these 400-year-old strategies into practical tools for your conflicts today. No romanticization, no empty philosophy, just pure technique. And in the end, one question will remain: what if your greatest enemy was not the outside world, but your own hesitation? Before we get into the strategies, I need to tell you something. I used to be a master at avoiding conflict. You know that message that's hard to respond to? I'd put it off for days. Awkward conversations? Oh, I'll get to that later. Important decisions? I need to think about it a bit more. The result? Small conflicts became crises, opportunities slipped away, relationships deteriorated in silence. That's when I stumbled upon the Book of Fire. And one sentence hit me like a punch. Deciding is also protecting. I realized that every time I put off a difficult decision, I wasn't protecting anyone. I was creating more suffering, my own, and others. And if you're here watching this, you probably recognize this pattern. So let's address it. Strategy 1. The impact principle. Decision before emotion. Fire does not argue with oxygen. It simply consumes. In the Book of Fire, the lesson is crystal clear. When confrontation is inevitable, hesitation is cruelty. Let me ask you a question that will change your game. What is worse, acting with 80% certainty now, or waiting for the 100% certainty that never comes? Musashi discovered something revolutionary. The perfect moment does not exist. There is the sufficient moment, and those who wait for the perfect moment lose to those who act on the sufficient moment. Grab a pen and paper now. Seriously. Write down a problem that's been lingering in your life for at least 2 weeks. It could be professional, personal, physical, or financial, anything. Now write 3 possible actions to resolve. Cut the most insecure one. Cut the most comfortable one. Keep the third one, the one that gives you butterflies in your stomach, but you know it works. That third action? You'll do it today. Not tomorrow. Today. Why today? Because Musashi taught, a warrior does not wait to be ready, he becomes ready by executing. Deciding is also protecting. Strategy 2. Domination of the terrain. Win before you start. Here's a secret few know. Musashi won most of his duels before he even drew his sword. How? Controlling the terrain. In physical combat, terrain is location. In modern life, terrain is context. Who starts the conversation? Who schedules the appointment? Who chooses the channel? Email. Connection. Face-to-face. Who sets the agenda? Let me give you a real-life example. You need to ask for a raise, and you have two options. Bad terrain. You send a long message on Friday at 5 p.m. explaining why you deserve to earn more. Good ground. You schedule 15 minutes on Tuesday morning, take concrete data, and ask one question. Based on these results, what would be the next step to evolve my position here? See the difference? Same content. Completely different terrain. Odds of success? Light years apart. In relationships, instead of starting the difficult conversation when you're both tired at the end of the day, schedule a coffee date in the morning in a neutral place. In negotiations, instead of accepting the client's first proposed schedule, suggest two alternatives that work better for you. In family conflicts, instead of arguing over WhatsApp, where everything turns into a misunderstanding, call and resolve it in 5 minutes. The trick is this: whoever defines the environment defines half of the outcome. It's pure emotional mathematics. Your exercise. Think about a situation that is stuck in your life. On whose land does this problem occur? Does the current scenario benefit me or drain me? What simple change of context already increases my advantage? Terrain is an invisible argument. Strategy 3. RHY them and timing. The choreography of pressure. Musashi had an obsession: to attack when his opponent inhaled. Why? Because when he inhales, the mind stops for a split second. Translating into real life, timing is not rushing, it's intelligent cadence. There are two rhythms that change the game. Broken rhythm, short sequences that generate strategic discomfort. Example, in a negotiation. Question 1. What is your biggest challenge in this project? Question 2. If this is not resolved within 30 days, what is the impact? Question 3. What's stopping you from solving it today? Now your final proposal. Why does this work? Because you didn't give the other person's brain time to build defenses. You went straight to the point of tension. In personal conflicts, instead of letting the discussion drag on for hours, apply rhythm. 2 minutes for each person to speak without interruption. 1 minute to summarize what you understood from the other person. Decision on next step, today. The golden rule of pacing. If you want decision, stop measuring approval with every sentence. Your pace must match your goal. If the goal is to resolve, the pace is resolution. If the goal is to please, the pace is approval. You can't have both at the same time. Timing is the grammar of victory. Strategy 4. Constant pressure. Firmness without cruelty. Attention. Pressing does not mean crushing. It means preventing the problem from healing. You know how you resolve a conflict and feel relieved, but then 2 weeks later the same problem returns? It's because you didn't apply consistent pressure. You let the problem heal crookedly. How to apply without becoming a dictator. 1. Tie agreements on paper. In the heat of the conversation, when you reach an agreement, write it down in front of the person. So we agree that you do X until Friday, and I do Y until Tuesday. Is that correct? 2. Signal next steps. Before anxiety takes over the empty space. After this point, we'll come back in 24 hours, with X or Y defined. 3. Light and frequent contact. A short follow-up message is worth more than a disappearance full of good intentions. Instead of, talk to me when you figure it out, use, I'll send you a reminder tomorrow afternoon to see how it's going, okay? The philosophical rule. Pressure with clarity is care. Pressure without clarity is oppression. Musashi taught, the enemy shouldn't have time to recover between attacks. In real life, the enemy shouldn't have time to create new excuses between conversations. Constancy is controlled fire. Strategy 5. Productive deception. Musashi talks about using distractions to throw an opponent off balance. Before you think, that's manipulation, let me explain the ethical side. Surprise the problem where it least expects it, in personal conflicts. Instead of exchanging accusations over WhatsApp, send this: "Hi, I'll come over to your house tonight for coffee. Let's resolve this in 20 minutes, face to face, like mature people do." Total surprise. The person doesn't have a ready-made script for this. In stopped projects, instead of another meeting to align expectations, you show up with an ugly prototype made in 48 hours. "Guys, I made this really quick. It's awful, but you can see the direction. What do you think?" The brain responds to something concrete with more commitment than to a perfect presentation. In hot discussions, when the conversation is turning into a fight, you stop and say, "Look, you're right on this point, concedes something small. Now help me understand this part here goes to the main point." This reduces the person's defense and opens up space for the central argument. The universal formula. An honest surprise, 5 correct arguments. Why? Because the person already knows the argument and has a ready counter-argument. Surprise forces the brain to process new information. Break expectation, not trust. Strategy 6. See the glitter. Hit where no one sees. Musashi. The problem is never what shouts, it's what whispers. In a locked team, it's not a lack of talent, it's a lack of clear priorities. In procrastination, it's not lack of time, it's fear of starting small. In a tense relationship, it's not a lack of love, it's a lack of clear rules. Exercise. List the 3 apparent causes of your problem. Cut out 2. Keep the silent one. Attack only that one for 7 days. Conquer the nerve, not the muscle. Strategy 7. Lucid intensity. Fire without smoke. Before any confrontation, 3-minute ritual. 4-2-6 breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 2. Exhale for 6, 5 times. Write the purpose in 10 words. If it goes beyond that, it's not clear. A micro-action, an email, a phone call, a draft. Without clarity, every flame turns to smoke. Strategy 9. The final hit. Finishing is an art. Closing checklist. Goal confirmed by both. Next step with date and person responsible. Simple registration of the agreement. If yes, finish. If not, you're still fighting air. Ending is an act of care for the future. Before I continue, let me show you that this is not just philosophy, it is applied science. Harvard Business Review. Quick decisions in complex contexts are not impulsiveness. They are a trained ability to recognize essential patterns. Journal of Behavioral Decision-Making. Constant, predictable pressure reduces toxic stress by 67% and increases productive focus. MIT Sloan. Controlling context, agenda, format, channel changes, deal probability by up to 40% by redefining the emotional map of negotiation. American Psychological Association. Anticipated ethical surprises shift the brain from defensive to exploratory mode, increasing receptivity to change by 23%. Musashi was 400 years ahead of neuroscience. Now I need to tell you something that might change your perspective on all of this. There is a detail in the Book of Fire that almost no one comments on. Fire also illuminates. It's not just for burning, it's for seeing. What if this whole strategy of confrontation and decision wasn't about beating other people, but about seeing what you've never seen? The pattern that has been hijacking your energy for years. The conversation you avoid because you're afraid of the answer. The project you put off because you prefer the fantasy of, if I wanted to the reality of testing. The decision you already know what it is, but you keep coming up with reasons not to make it. Do you know what the most dangerous moment in a battle is? Right after you almost win. That's when you relax. That's when victory slips through your fingers. There is a 60-second ritual to not drop your sword at the door of victory. It's simple, but it's devastatingly effective. Come with me. 60-second ritual to close open battles. Step 1. Take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself, what's the real goal here? Step 2. Write down the next step in a few words. If you go beyond that, you don't know what you want. Step 3. Confirm with the other party in one sentence. So we're at X through Y, correct? Step 4. Record it in one place. Notebook, app, anything you look at every day. Step 5. Take the first micro-action immediately. Before leaving the conversation, the email, the meeting. Why immediately? Because Musashi discovered, motion begets motion, inertia begets inertia. And now, The question that will haunt you today. What battle do you need to end today to free up energy tomorrow? Write this battle now. For the video if you need to. Write it down. Now apply the ritual. Right now. The Book of Fire is not a call to violence. It is a call for active lucidity. Decision before emotion. Ground before argument. Rhythm before strength. Pressure with respect. Surprise with ethics. Closing with caution. And remember the phrase from the beginning? If you don't master the fire within you, the world will extinguish your flame. If this video changed your perspective in any way, leave a comment telling me which battle you're going to end today. I want to know. And if you have someone in your life who needs to hear this, that person who is forever thinking about decisions, send this video to them.